Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Sawadee Kap. Hello and welcome to Wat Umong, a historical Buddhist temple. You are warmly invited to explore Wat Umong, an active temple in the foothills of the Doi Suthep mountain. Here, tradition and the teachings of the Buddha come together, offering visitors both cultural inspiration and inner peace in a forest, park-like setting. We are very pleased that you decided to visit our temple today. I am going to provide you an audio tour of our temple to help you understand more about the temple and the teachings of the Buddha. The multiple stations of our tour await you.
Itipiso bhagavan
Arahang Samma Sambuddho.
In front of you is a temple shop that is here to provide you the ability to easily access the items you need while here at the temple. This is a Thai forest temple where oftentimes people come for extended periods of time to learn and grow on the path to enlightenment. An individual might come to this temple for an entire day or stay here to learn alongside the monks for several days. The temple allows visitors to stay up to 15 days. The Thai people like to try to make things easily accessible to you. Therefore, this shop has a number of items that make it easy for you to get drinks and snacks to refresh the body during the day. You might also see various vendors inside the temple complex as you make your way around the temple. This is designed to allow you easy access to refreshments and allow you to focus on your learning and development while here at Wat Umong. You also see care packages arranged as a gift. These are for the ordained practitioners. Oftentimes, when people visit a temple, they are interested in practicing generosity. Generosity was taught by the Buddha to help the mind let go and eliminate its discontent feelings. When individuals come to a temple, they sometimes choose to offer support through sharing their time, effort, energy, or resources. The Buddha taught the practice of generosity, giving and sharing without any expectation of anything in return, in order to train the mind to let go. It is the mind holding on, craving and clinging, wanting and expecting that is causing the mind to experience discontent feelings, such as sadness, anger, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fears, boredom, loneliness, shyness, jealousy, resentment, stress, anxiety, etc. It is through training the mind to let go that one can completely eliminate 100% of all discontent feelings. The Buddha taught meditation and several other techniques to train the mind to let go. Giving and sharing one's time, effort, energy, and resources to help others without any expectation of anything in return helps train the mind to let go, thus working to eliminate one's discontent feelings. In addition, by supporting a temple, you are supporting the ability for people to gain access to the teachings of the Buddha, receiving assistance and guidance in developing a better life. Ordained practitioners do not work or sustain their life in any other way. They are on a journey to enlightenment, and through the cultivation of their wisdom, they can progress towards the enlightened mental state. As they progress, they are able to share the wisdom they have gained with the community of how to also progress towards enlightenment. By choosing this lifestyle to not work in a worldly career or sustain their life in any other way, it provides them the ability to dedicate their time towards the development of their life practice to train the mind. So, when people come to a temple, they will oftentimes practice generosity through making donations of time, effort, energy, and resources to help their mind to let go, eliminating discontent feelings, and to help the ordained practitioners to sustain their life. In this way, there is mutual support, as taught by the Buddha. Through supporting the ordained practitioners and teachers, an individual is coming into close contact with someone who can support you in your learning and growth on the path to enlightenment by having the ability to ask questions and seek guidance in the teachings of the Buddha. If you would like to purchase a care package, you can, and then offer it to any of the ordained practitioners that you see inside the temple complex. They will be the individuals with a shaved head and dressed in robes. There is no requirement nor an expectation that you will practice generosity with the ordained practitioners, but if you would like to, this gift shop is making that available for you. Sometimes people purchase gifts outside the temple and bring them to the temple with them. All of these are options for how to be able to practice generosity while visiting a temple.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
Wat Umong was created in 1297 CE by King Mengrai during the time of the Lanna Kingdom. He is the same king who founded the city of Chiang Mai. Wat Umong, also known as the Temple of Tunnels, features many attractions such as walkable tunnels. Wat Umong is a forest monastery for those seeking a quiet place to meditate, enjoy nature, and understand the teachings of the Buddha. A Buddhist temple is a community center, a learning center, a place to grow and evolve into a better human being. There are ordained practitioners, monks, who live at a temple, and there is the opportunity for household practitioners to attend temple events to learn, grow, and evolve through the events hosted at the temple. You might think of a temple like the womb of a woman. The womb of a woman is the very best place to grow into becoming a human being. The temple is similar in that it is the very best place to grow into becoming a better and better human being through inner growth and development, using the teachings of the Buddha as a guide. The womb of the temple environment and all that is offered at a temple is provided for by those of us that aspire for a place of learning and growth to exist in our community. Ordained practitioners live in the womb, experiencing constant development, while household practitioners enter in and out of the womb on a daily basis to experience continued growth and development through their journey to an improved and better way of life. Another way to think of a temple in the vast network of temples throughout Thailand is like a self-funded mental health network. People can enter into a temple and find individuals who are available to assist you in learning, growing, and developing in your personal and professional life. While some may receive this type of assistance in their home country at a fee, there is no required or expected payment for assistance at a Buddhist temple. Members of the community who enter into the temple for guidance and assistance can support the temple through donations of time, effort, energy, and resources if they choose, but there is no requirement nor an expectation that support will be given. The temple is here to support you in your learning and growth, in your life journey, without any expectation of anything in return. Entering into the womb is to do so with an interest to learn, grow, and develop on the path to enlightenment, as taught by the Buddha. You can see most of the main attractions of Wat Umong on this map. We are going to take a walk visiting some of the main attractions of the temple. We will essentially walk in a large clockwise direction around the temple complex, with the main stupa and tunnels being a real highlight of the temple. If you would like, we can even explore a Thai cemetery. Let's go have some fun.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
You might be asking yourself, who was Siddhartha Gautama and what is a Buddha? Siddhartha Gautama was a prince destined to become a king. He chose to step down from his royal heritage to seek a better understanding of life through a journey towards enlightenment. The Buddha, originally named Siddhartha Gautama, was born in the year 563 BCE and died in 483 BCE. He was born in modern-day Nepal and taught in modern-day Northeast India. He ultimately figured out how to attain enlightenment from the age of 29 to 35 in a 6-year journey of training his mind through his own wisdom and without the guidance of any teachers. He then taught others how to attain the enlightened mental state for the next 45 years. By the time of his death at the age of 80, there were countless people who had attained enlightenment. An individual who will become a Buddha is able to attain enlightenment without the assistance of any teachers or guides. However, this is very rare in the world. The last Buddha that the world is currently aware of existed over 2,500 years ago. A Buddha meets 3 primary criteria. 1. They attain enlightenment on their own, without the guidance of any teachers. 2. They dedicate the rest of their life to sharing their independently discovered teachings with countless individuals, and countless beings attain enlightenment during their lifetime. 3. They preserve their teachings in such a way that countless more beings will get to enlightenment after their death. You are able to attain enlightenment, but you will not be a Buddha, as you will need guidance from teachers to point the way through gradual training and gradual practice to experience gradual progress. One of the biggest myths about the life story of the Buddha is that he sat under a tree and instantly attained enlightenment. This is untrue, as we can clearly see in his teachings from his own words that it was gradual training and gradual practice that led to gradual progress over a 6-year journey. This is true for you as well, that you will need gradual training and gradual practice to experience gradual progress. Everything you have ever done in life has been the same way, whether it is to read, write, and speak a certain language, or some job or occupation where you have developed significant skills and abilities. It was gradual training and gradual practice that led to your gradual progress. The journey to enlightenment is the same way. It is accomplished through gradual training and gradual practice to experience gradual progress.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
It is important to understand that the Buddha never taught anyone to make statues of him. However, approximately 500 to 600 years after his death, the people who were familiar with his teachings came in contact with the people in Greece. They were learning from the Greek people how to make statues, as the Greek people were making statues of their gods. The people who were exploring the teachings of the Buddha decided, on their own, to start making statues of the Buddha. However, the people who started making statues of the Buddha did not live during his lifetime. So, the vast majority of the statues you will see of the Buddha do not depict his actual appearance during his lifetime, because the artist did not live during his lifetime, and photographic technology did not exist 2,500 years ago during the lifetime of the Buddha. The Buddha did not wear fancy clothing nor a crown on his head, as is depicted in these statues. He wore simple rag robes and shaved his head. While the typical statue of the Buddha does not actually depict his appearance during his lifetime, they do represent a specific aspect of his life story. For example, notice how this statue of the Buddha depicts him sitting cross-legged with his hand reaching down towards the ground. This statue represents the first and only miracle performed by the Buddha prior to his first teaching. He had come into contact with 5 individuals who were mocking him, thinking that he had given up on the path to enlightenment. He sat down, reached down towards the earth, and upon touching the earth, countless animals came to where he was sitting. Deer, squirrels, rabbits, birds, and several other animals all came to where he was sitting to confirm for those 5 individuals that he had indeed attained enlightenment. Then the Buddha shared his very first teaching, the Four Noble Truths, and these 5 individuals became his first 5 students. A Buddha does not perform several miracles to convince others they are a Buddha, as their teachings are independently verifiable, and there is no need to convince others that one is a Buddha. Instead, a Buddha will share their teachings with countless people during their lifetime, helping them to attain the enlightened mental state through independently verifying their teachings to be the truth, to cultivate wisdom. And it is through gradual training and gradual practice that one experiences gradual progress on the path to enlightenment. So, as an individual is training their mind over a consistent period of time, they can observe for themselves that the teachings of the Buddha are working to improve the condition of their mind and their life. I would like to draw your attention to the large wheel behind the head of the Buddha statue. You will notice a large wheel with 8 spokes. This is a symbol referred to as a dhamma wheel. During the lifetime of the Buddha, he taught orally. There was nothing written down during his lifetime because the technology to write things down did not exist in that region of the world during his lifetime. Therefore, the Buddha used symbols to capture the meaning of his teachings. This is a popular symbol that is in use today, yet very few people understand its significance and meaning. The wheel of this symbol reminds us how each unenlightened being is in the continuous cycle of rebirth. The 8 spokes symbolize the way to escape the cycle of rebirth, which is to learn and practice the Eightfold Path to attain enlightenment. The Eightfold Path is the core and central teaching of the Buddha that will guide you to purification of the mind by training of the mind to attain the enlightened mental state. The 12 o'clock position represents right view, then right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Learning and practicing this important teaching with the guidance of a teacher will guide you to enlightenment. It is understood that when a Buddha awakens to enlightenment, that it is an ideal time to be in existence, as the wisdom to attain enlightenment will be bright, vibrant, and readily accessible to anyone and everyone who may be interested to attain enlightenment. A Buddha, having attained enlightenment on their own, without the help of any teachers or guides, would have deep and penetrating wisdom of how to attain enlightenment. So, a Buddha existing in the world is like humanity stepping forward into a new era. When a Buddha exists in the world, civilization has entered into an important time in history, and the teachings for all beings to attain enlightenment shine in the world. In artwork, a Dhamma wheel is typically placed behind the head of a Buddha because it is understood when a Buddha awakens to enlightenment, they will reach up behind their head with their right hand and turn the Dhamma wheel counterclockwise. The Dhamma wheel is not physically on a Buddha's head, but instead is figuratively on the top of his head, where the top of the skull and the back of his skull will meet, creating a flat spot. It is in that position that a Buddha will then turn the Dhamma wheel as a representation of humanity stepping forward into a new era. Now, we are headed to our next stop, which will be the learning area of the temple.
อิติปิโสภะคะวะ
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
We are standing in an area that was constructed to host students to learn, grow, and develop in their journey to enlightenment. You are able to live here for a minimum of 3 days and a maximum of 15 days to learn alongside of the ordained practitioners. All you would need to do is check in at the registration area located in Building 1. If it is slow season, you could probably check in on the same day. If it is busy season, you might decide to talk with the temple staff a few days prior to coming to reside here, ensuring there is space available for you. The temple staff will help you understand the guidelines they request for visitors who are choosing to stay at the temple. When you learn at a temple, they will teach you to train the mind towards the attainment of enlightenment. The Buddha was asked by a new student if they should go off in the forest to be secluded to train the mind. This new student was very eager to experience what it was like, as senior students did, to be secluded in the forest alone and train the mind. Today, while people rarely go off into the forest to train the mind, as was very popular during the lifetime of the Buddha, people do go away to retreat centers like here at Wat Umong. Many times, the retreat centers are designed to require extended periods of silence, perhaps 10, 20, 30 days or longer. This is simulating what was taught during the lifetime of the Buddha, to enter into seclusion, to be able to train the mind. However, the Buddha did not encourage new students to go into seclusion, but instead to learn the teachings among the community of practitioners prior to choosing to go out on their own, such as in a silent retreat. Putting the mind into a situation where it is being trained to let go of its many cravings, desires, attachments is what will produce enlightenment. But an individual first needs to understand the teachings of the Buddha and implement the training over a gradual and consistent period of time to be able to ease the mind into being willing to let go. It is best to start this training for many years among a supportive community of practitioners with the guidance of a teacher. While many people might be excited at the opportunity to go off on their own into seclusion, the Buddha advised otherwise. Once a practitioner is in seclusion, if they are unfamiliar with the teachings of the Buddha of how to train the mind, the time in seclusion can be too large of a challenge for the mind. The mind can almost implode on itself because it does not have the tools and abilities to fully benefit from the time alone and how to readily address the arising daily challenges. They put prisoners in isolated confinement as a punishment because it is oftentimes very painful for the unenlightened mind to be alone. Going off into a retreat environment where all the modern day conveniences do not exist and there is minimal to no interaction with other people can be helpful for the mind. It can expose to the practitioner exactly what the mind is longing and yearning for, which was not observable in your normal daily life. So, if there is a special drink, blanket, or pillow, for example, that the mind is attached to, this may not be observable in the normal course of life. Therefore, a retreat center such as this can help expose the mind to the areas of one's life that they are attached to, but did not easily see during the normal course of life. Then, a well-trained practitioner will be able to use that information to improve their life practice outside of the retreat environment. The real work that is conducted to progress towards enlightenment is not happening in a 10, 20, or 30-day retreat. The real work is done day by day during the normal course of one's life. But going into a retreat environment can expose to the mind what it still needs to work on to progress towards enlightenment. So, the retreat environment is exposing the mind to what it needs to understand about the cravings, desires, attachments that still exist in the mind and need to be eliminated. Then, the real work of training one's mind is being employed outside of the retreat. That new student who talked with the Buddha about going into the forest alone in seclusion to train their mind was provided the following teaching by the Buddha. The Buddha shared that they would be wise to stay among the community to learn, grow, and develop prior to going out into the forest alone. The simile the Buddha provided to help illustrate this important teaching is as follows. The Buddha described a large, strong bull elephant that came down into the fast and strong flowing river to take a bath and play in the water. The elephant had a great time splashing the water and cleansing the body. When the elephant was finished bathing and playing in the water, it came up the river bank sure-footedly and returned to stable ground. While this was occurring, there was a rabbit watching the big, strong bull elephant bathe and play in the water and come out sure-footedly. The rabbit thought, "That looks great. I would like to do the same thing. I would also like to bathe and play in that water." So the rabbit, unaware of the dangers and why the elephant was able to bathe and play in the strong flowing river, entered into the river and was swept away. So too, the new student observing many senior students of the Buddha going off into the forest for seclusion thought he would also like to go into the forest for seclusion to train the mind. The Buddha encouraged him to stay among the community as he was not yet a bull elephant. A new student has not yet trained their mind to be able to deal with the many challenges of seclusion and to benefit from one's time in seclusion to then address the training of the mind outside of the retreat environment. So, the Buddha encouraged new students to first learn among the community prior to entering into seclusion to train the mind. A student would be wise to learn and grow, understanding the tools and techniques of training the mind prior to going off into a silent retreat. Otherwise, without the understanding and wisdom of the teachings of the Buddha, a new student would not have the ability to truly benefit from training the mind through an experience that is provided at a silent retreat and afterwards.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
You will find that lotus flowers are used as symbolism throughout Buddhist cultures in artwork and temple construction. Here, you see two different lotus flowers, an open lotus flower and a closed lotus flower. The open lotus flower is symbolizing enlightenment, where a closed lotus flower symbolizes your potential to attain enlightenment. A lotus flower grows in the world much like the way a practitioner on the path to enlightenment would grow in their journey to enlightenment. A lotus flower has roots deep down into the earth, holding on to the earth. Then it grows a strong stalk, moving upwards through the murky water, and eventually rises above the murky water and blooms into a nice, beautiful lotus flower. A practitioner's journey to enlightenment is similar. An unenlightened being is holding on to the world and worldly things, but then, if the individual develops a strong life practice through the cultivation of wisdom in the teachings of the Buddha, they rise through the murkiness of the world. The world is full of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and taking substances that cause heedlessness. So, a practitioner will need the wisdom from the teachings of the Buddha on how to move past this, no longer making unwise decisions to be involved in this unwise conduct. And it takes a strong stalk and a strong life practice of wisdom to ascend above the murkiness of the world. Then, if one grows a strong, well-developed life practice, they will then rise above the murkiness of the world and bloom, attaining enlightenment, where the mind is completely peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy. This is accomplished through gradual training and gradual practice to experience gradual progress. So, an open lotus flower is a symbol of enlightenment. You will oftentimes see open lotus flowers around a statue of the Buddha. They are frequently carved into the base of the statue as a symbol of his enlightenment. A closed lotus flower, which you will see many of these in artwork and around temples, represents your potential to attain enlightenment. Not every lotus flower will bloom, but they all have the potential to bloom. So, seeing a closed lotus flower is to remind you that you have the potential to attain enlightenment, and it would be wise for you to apply time, effort, and energy towards developing a strong life practice to attain enlightenment, not allowing the mind to be complacent in this life, while the open lotus flower is symbolizing enlightenment.
อิติปิโสภะคะวะ
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
Each statue that you see of the Buddha represents a time frame during his lifetime. If you understand the life story of the Buddha, you can understand each individual statue and glean information that will assist you in your journey to enlightenment. Whether each of these stories are true or false is not entirely known, because none of us were there during the lifetime of the Buddha. However, whether these stories are true or false does not actually matter, because each of these stories have underlying wisdom that will help you to progress in your journey to enlightenment. So, I will describe the story of this Buddha statue to you, then help you to extrapolate lessons to learn that will help you in your journey to enlightenment and your journey in this life. It is said that during the lifetime of Siddhartha Gautama, as he was training the mind to attain enlightenment, he was deep in the forest meditating. And while in deep meditation, it started to rain. The forest began to flood, yet Siddhartha Gautama had no idea this was occurring because he was deep in meditation. The water started rising up higher and higher on his body, getting up towards his chest where he would have potentially died. So a large snake, realizing that Siddhartha Gautama was going to become a Buddha, chose to coil itself under the meditating Siddhartha Gautama to rise him up out of the water, and then shielded him with the hood of his body like an umbrella to protect him from the rain. Now, whether this story is true or false, I do not know. As part of this life, I was not there during the lifetime of the Buddha. I have never seen a snake with that level of intelligence to be able to accomplish something of this nature. However, whether this story is true or false does not actually matter, because there is an embedded lesson in this story that will actually help you in your journey to enlightenment. It is helpful for you to develop a meditation practice that is so deep that the mind is unaffected by what is transpiring around you. So, if you are meditating at home and your neighbor's baby is crying, or their dog is barking, etc., be so deep in meditation that the mind is unaffected by this impermanent situation. You will not be able to meditate in complete silence, as that would be permanence, and you live in an impermanent world. Everything you see, hear, smell, taste that comes in contact with the body, or any thoughts or ideas that go through the mind, is impermanent. These are temporary, they are not permanent, but the unenlightened mind craves, desires permanence. To attain enlightenment, you will need to train the mind, getting to a point where it is unaffected by the impermanent nature of the world around you, and it no longer craves, desires permanence. So, train the mind during meditation that you are so deep in meditation you are unaffected by the world around you. This is the type of lesson you can learn from these sorts of stories. So, whether this story is true or false does not matter. What is important is to train the mind to be unaffected by the impermanent nature of the world around you, as the unenlightened mind craves, desires permanence. That is how you can use a story like this to help you in your journey to enlightenment.
อิติปิโสภะคะวะ
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
This particular statue has nothing to do with the teachings of the Buddha. However, you will see it at many temples in other places within Thai society. Therefore, I will teach you what this is, so that you will know and understand what it is and can appreciate that understanding. If your culture has the thought of Mother Earth, this is the Thai culture's representation of Mother Earth. Thai people refer to her as Pra Mat Tharani. Pra is a respectful prefix used for deities or sacred beings. Mat is the Thai word for mother. Tharani means earth. We can translate Pra Mat Tharani into Mother Earth. She is regarded as a mother who gives birth to and nurtures all living things on the planet. She symbolizes fertility, abundance, and the stability of nature. What you see here is she has dipped her hair into the water and she is now wringing it out. While the statue represents Mother Earth, the statue itself is done in a Lanna style. Lanna is the way to refer to the northern region of Thailand. Each region of Thailand has different artistic representations of the various statues that are created. Here in the north, the Lanna style is very decorative and ornate. You can see this here in the clothing of this statue, that it is decorative and ornate. It is done in the northern Lanna style. When we enter into the main building of the temple, there are representations of the various styles of artistic representations of Buddhist statues. When we go inside, I will help you understand them all. But for now, understand that this statue is done in the Lanna style, which you can imagine being here in the north, you will see many statues in the northern Lanna style. When you travel to other parts of Thailand, you will see other styles of statues, which are all represented inside the main building. Again, this statue has nothing to do with the teachings of the Buddha, but you will oftentimes see it within Thailand, so it is helpful to know what it represents. And Thai artists will produce different statues with different styles, which here, this is a great representation of the northern Lanna style of creating statues.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
What do you see in front of you? What is this and what does it symbolize? You did not know there would be quizzes on this tour, did you? Well, there are. So, do you remember what this represents? If you are with other people, maybe you would like to pause the audio tour and talk about it amongst yourselves to see who can remember. Okay, let's see if you remembered. A closed lotus flower represents that you have the potential to attain enlightenment, and it is important to not allow the mind to be complacent, lacking motivation and encouragement to progress towards learning and growth to attain enlightenment. But what it is a temple marker. It serves as a temple marker. The main building of a temple complex, known in Thai as a sala, is where the main events of a temple will be held. These temple markers denote the main building of the temple complex. These markers are placed around the main building in the 8 directions of the compass. This marker is the east marker. Then you have the north and northeast over there towards the right of the entryway of the main building. Prior to constructing this building, this would have just been raw land. They would have dug down into the earth to place 9 large concrete balls to mark out this land as the location of the main hall for the temple complex, 8 in the directions of the compass and a 9th in the middle of the floor of the main building. The 8 markers around the building in the directions of the compass have these markers. The 9th concrete ball is just down under the floor without an actual marker. The primary Buddha statue will typically be placed at the west end of the main building, looking towards the east. If you were new to this temple and coming here for an event, you would know to look for the building with the temple markers around it, as this is where the event is most likely going to be hosted. And should something ever happen to this building or land, the people coming afterwards would know from the large concrete balls in the ground that this is where the main hall was located. Now, let's go into the main hall. I will teach you about what you see inside. You will need to take off your shoes and go inside. If the doors are closed, you can politely and respectfully open the doors and enter. Then be sure to close the doors when you leave. See you inside.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
As you have now entered into the main hall of the temple, I would like to share some guidance with you about Thai culture that will help you in situations where you are in and around Thai people. Feel free to take a seat and relax. These things that I'm going to teach you are things that are nice to know. If for any reason you do not remember these things and you are around people who become angered due to you not practicing these things, it is important to understand that those people are causing their own anger. It is not you that would cause someone else to be angry. That is not possible. But instead, it is one's own mind, their cravings, desires, attachments that would cause their mind to be angry. It is not other people that are causing you to become angry. Instead, it is one's own mind that causes it to become angry or experience any other discontent feelings. This is a fundamental aspect of the teachings of the Buddha that can be independently verified. All the teachings of the Buddha can be independently verified. And while we understand that everyone is causing their own anger, it is nice to be around people who are not angry. So, learning and practicing these three things will help you to better associate with people within Thai culture. 1. When Thai people enter into the main hall of a temple, or any time they are around a Buddha statue, they will typically do so with their head a bit lower than the primary Buddha statue. This is out of respect for the Buddha. And this is typically made very easy to accomplish because the Thai people will usually place Buddha statues quite high. 2. When gesturing towards a Buddha statue, people will oftentimes use a full hand rather than pointing their finger. 3. When sitting among others or in the main hall of a temple, Thai people consider it to be disrespectful to point your feet towards others. This is due to, in the past, people used to walk around with no shoes. Shoes did not exist in the past. Therefore, people would have dirty feet in entering into a situation where others are sitting. It was considered to be disrespectful to point your dirty feet towards others. The Thai people think in the same way about pointing the feet towards the main altar at a temple. They consider it to be disrespectful to point your feet towards statues of the Buddha. The reason why people think in this way is due to misunderstandings that exist today. People think the spirit of the Buddha exists in these statues. That is not what was taught by the Buddha. The Buddha never taught to make statues of him, and he did not teach that his spirit resides in these statues. In fact, the Buddha did not even teach that a spirit does or does not exist. But now, 2,500 years after the death of the Buddha, there are many misunderstandings in the world around what he taught. Therefore, you will see people that will treat statues of the Buddha as if he is literally sitting there right in front of you. You might even see people bathing statues, feeding them, and doing any number of other things, treating the statue as if it is a human being. This is not what would lead to one's enlightenment. However, at least you will know where this thinking is coming from. If you and I are ever in the same environment, you are more than welcome to sit however you like. If you point your feet towards me, that is up to you. I have no expectation of how you should or should not sit. But that is not the case for everyone. So, it is oftentimes wise to practice the culture of the people around you, which will help minimize the opportunity for other people's minds to become discontent due to their cravings, desires, attachments not getting triggered. Again, if you forget these or otherwise do not practice them, no worries, that is up to you. If anyone gets angry that you are not practicing these cultural protocols, they are causing their own anger, not you. But at least you will know a bit about Thai culture and have some basic understanding to help you.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
When the Thai people first originated, they started out in what we describe as northern Vietnam. There was population pressure from Chinese people migrating southward out of China, as there were only so many people that could be supported on that land. Therefore, the Thai people chose to migrate westward, looking for a more suitable place to reside. As a large population of people migrate, they do not pick up everyone and move to a certain area. There are some people who stay behind. This is how we know this migration took place. Anthropologists and other researchers have done cultural and linguistic studies to determine that this migration took place, as there are people spread across the region from northern Vietnam towards Myanmar and now in Thailand, with similar cultural and spiritual practices as well as similar language. The Thai people migrating westward were looking for a place they could comfortably inhabit, a land that could support their people. But in doing so, they found themselves in the middle of a war. The Burmese and Cambodian people were at war with each other over the land that we now refer to as Thailand. The people of the Thai ethnic group, TAI, eventually became known as the Thai people, spelled THAI, decided to attempt to carve out land for themselves between the Burmese and the Cambodians. They started setting up capitals, first in Chiang Mai, then Sukhothai, Ayutthaya, and now Bangkok, or Krung Thep, as spoken by Thai people. These capitals typically only held for a short period of time before the Burmese destroyed them. This is why Chiang Mai has a moat around the city and was once a walled city. They were attempting to protect themselves from invasions. During these time periods, as the Thai people were migrating further south, there are different time periods of artistic representation of the statues of the Buddha. And I'm going to introduce you to these 3 time frames of Buddhist artwork so that you will be able to easily identify them when you see them. Looking at the main altar, if you look to the right, you will see a decorative black statue of the Buddha. This statue is representing the Lanna style of artwork, which is ornate. Sometimes you will see very intricate depictions of the Buddha, wearing fancy clothing, even with gold trim. This is not how the Buddha actually dressed during his lifetime as the Buddha, but it is how people were choosing to represent him artistically during the time frame of the Lanna Kingdom. The large black statue of the Buddha, the primary statue on the altar, this is the Sukhothai time frame of artistic representation. You will be able to identify it through the simple and clean lines with the pointed crown on the head. Then the gold image in the middle with the rounded headpiece, this is from the Ayutthaya period. As you travel around Thailand in the world, you will see different statues representing the Buddha in different ways. You will rarely see a statue that represents how the Buddha looked during his lifetime, but the image I share with you here is how he appeared during his lifetime. He shaved his head and wore simple rag robes. If you see statues from China, some people think the Buddha appears very Chinese. If you see statues from Japan, you might think the Buddha appears to be Japanese. Some people might say the Thai statues make the Buddha appear to be Thai. In reality, the Buddha lived and taught in the region of the world that we refer to as Nepal and Northeast India. The Buddha was born in Nepal and did most of his teaching in what we refer to as Northeast India. But those lines and borders did not exist during the lifetime of the Buddha. Over to the right, you can see a photo of King Rama IX as an ordained practitioner. It is common to see photos of King Rama IX in places where people gather. He was a very beloved king. The Thai people have a lot of gratitude and respect for him. He was not originally supposed to be the king. He was studying in the USA to be an engineer at MIT. But his brother, King Rama VIII, was assassinated, and he was chosen to be the next king. The king of Thailand is like an advisor to the Thai people, kind of like a father or grandfather. The king is not typically involved in the day-to-day functioning of the country. That is up to the people and the government officials. But the king is there to help when his assistance is requested. King Rama IX did many projects to help the Thai people, and therefore he was very beloved. He was a family man, only ever having one wife, and deeply devoted to his family. King Rama IX was practicing the teachings of the Buddha closely, and is why the Thai people have so much respect for him. But at different times, the government would have challenges, and they would come to the king for help. King Rama IX was born in 1927 and died in 2016. He was the longest reigning king in existence during his lifetime and guided the Thai people through many decades of growth and prosperity, as well as difficult times. One time there was massive flooding and villages were underwater. Their houses and crops were being destroyed. The government could not figure out how to get the water to flow and solve the problem. So, knowing the king had trained to be an engineer, they came to the king for help. King Rama IX went out to visit the village, rolled up his pants legs, and waded through the floodwaters, which amazed the Thai people that a king would do something of that nature. He took out his sketch pad, drew pictures, took photographs, etc., and explained how to get the water to flow. The government implemented his ideas, the water flowed, and the village was saved. People were overjoyed that the king had helped them to find a solution to their village's challenges. There were these types of situations and others where the king was praised for his service to the public. At one time, it was very difficult for women over 40 to find a job and acquire the needed income to support themselves. The king, understanding this challenge, started projects that trained and employed older women, giving them the ability to support themselves with an income. It was these types of projects and others that helped the Thai people, which promoted a sense of appreciation, gratitude, and respect by the Thai people for their king.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
Oftentimes, people are taught to believe things from teachers of the past, or even people today. However, the Buddha taught people to learn, reflect, and practice his teachings to be able to independently verify the truth, to cultivate wisdom. It is through the cultivation of wisdom that the mind will be able to then gradually awaken to enlightenment. Learning is to investigate and examine his teachings. Reflecting is to independently verify his teachings based on considering your past experiences. Practicing is to integrate the teachings of the Buddha into your daily life to start making decisions through his guidance and wisdom. Then, through this continuous process of learning, reflecting, and practicing, an individual discovers the wisdom and truth of the Buddha's teachings, in that they lead to a peaceful and joyful mind in life. There are constant and continuous improvements to one's mind and life. Common questions that people ask about the teachings of the Buddha are: what is meditation? Meditation is a technique to actively train the mind during dedicated, independent, purposeful training sessions to eliminate unwholesome qualities of the mind and/or cultivate wholesome qualities of the mind in the positions of seated, lying, standing, or walking. How can meditation help me? Meditation is an important technique that will assist in training the mind to completely eliminate 100% of all discontent feelings, such as sadness, anger, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fears, boredom, loneliness, shyness, jealousy, resentment, stress, anxiety, etc., so that you can attain enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment is a mental state attainable during this life or at death, where the mind will be peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy permanently. The mind will have eliminated 100% of all discontent feelings, such as sadness, anger, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fears, boredom, loneliness, shyness, jealousy, resentment, stress, anxiety, etc. The mind will have a high degree of focus, concentration, memory, and clarity of mind. The mind will be stable, steady, and unshakable. Your personal and professional relationships will be blossoming and completely harmonious. By the time you attain enlightenment, the mind will not even experience a bad mood because the causes and conditions that produce a bad mood have been eliminated from the mind. What is the path to enlightenment? The path to enlightenment is a purification of the mind by training the mind, reaching a point where the mind experiences only peacefulness, calmness, serenity, and contentedness with joy, the enlightened mind. The path to enlightenment is the solution to the challenges you experience in the world and the solutions of how to heal from what hurt you so that you never need to hurt ever again. This is accomplished through learning, growing, and evolving to cultivate wisdom of how to train the mind, not through belief. There are no rites, rituals, ceremonies, worship, or prayer in the teachings of the Buddha. If you see these things associated with the teachings of the Buddha, those are significant misunderstandings of his teachings. If you would like to experience the practice of meditation and to gain a deeper understanding of the teachings of the Buddha, there are classes, courses, and retreats in English at no cost where you are able to learn with a dedicated practitioner and teacher. Please scan the QR code to visit the events calendar or visit the website buddhadailywisdom.com. You will find a variety of classes, courses, and retreats that are all available at no cost and taught by me to assist you in your growth and development towards the enlightened mental state in this life. You can attend these classes in person or online. No matter where you are in the world, if you have an internet connection, you are able to learn the teachings of the Buddha and the better way of life he taught. Now, I will go outside with you to teach you some more things around the temple complex. If you could politely and respectfully close the doors to the main hall on the way out, that would be wonderful.
Itipiso bhagava
Arahang Samma Sambuddho.
We think that Buddhism arrived in Thailand around 800 to 1200 years ago, around 800 to 1200 CE. Based on research, we think that Buddhism traveled from Sri Lanka into Thailand over the sea. When Buddhism arrived here, they did not wipe out everything that they had been doing and then replace it with a clean transmission of Buddhist teachings. Instead, they merged it all together. The Thai people were already practicing various folk traditions, such as animism, which is the worship of inanimate objects. This is why you see the wrapping of trees and worshiping the water or the mountain spirits. While it is lovely to think about respecting and honoring things like the earth, water, mountains, trees, etc., this is not what would lead to enlightenment, nor what was taught by the Buddha. Nonetheless, being new to Buddhism, the Thai people would not have known that, and they just merged everything together. So, it is not like Buddhism came in on a Friday, and there was a countrywide announcement stating, forget everything that you have been doing for the last many generations, and that you learned from your ancestors, and on Monday, we are going to be up and running on Buddhism. That is not how it happened. Instead, they just merged everything together. What you are seeing here is the merging of Buddhism and Thai astrology. I will explain to you what this is, but just understand this has nothing to do with the teachings of the Buddha. But you might be curious to know what this is, and I will explain it to you. The Thai people think that there is a Buddha statue designated for each day of the week, and depending which day you were born, there is a Buddha statue that is designated for your day of the week. People are taught to pay extra special attention and respect towards that Buddha statue, and that it will bring you good luck. The Buddha did not teach that there is good luck nor bad luck. He taught you to cultivate wisdom and make wise decisions. Then that is what will produce wholesome results, wholesome karma, in one's own life. If you make unwise decisions, then it will produce unwholesome results, unwholesome karma. The natural law of karma is cause and effect, or action and result. It is the results of your decisions. It is not anything mystical or magical about punishments and rewards, nor who is to blame or at fault. The natural law of karma is the results of decisions that you make, a sequence of events that lead to a certain result. It is your life, your decisions, your results. The Buddha also did not teach to make statues of him, that there is a Buddha statue designated for your day of birth, nor to pay extra special attention to any specific statue. This is not what he taught. He taught to train the mind, but oftentimes people believe in these things, and is why you see them. But more and more, people are understanding that these things are not the true teachings of the Buddha, and is why you see this is pushed back into this corner, with less and less people paying attention to it. If you notice, there are 8 Buddha statues, but there are 7 days of the week. That is because in Thai astrology, Wednesday is a very complicated day, and there is a morning statue and an evening statue based on the time of one's birth. So again, this is not what was taught by the Buddha, and you do not need to know this to attain enlightenment. But if you see this sort of thing at a temple, you will know what it is.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
I will explain to you the story behind this large snake, referred to as a naga. This particular snake is oftentimes referred to as the Serpent King. Just keep in mind that these types of stories may or may not be true. But whether it is true or false, there are still lessons to be learned that are helpful to your journey to enlightenment. So, I will share the story of these snakes and why they are typically placed at the base of the stairs to temples, but I am unsure if this story is true. I suspect that it is not true, but I was not there to know for myself. Nonetheless, there are 3 primary lessons that you can learn from this story, so I will share it with you, then help you understand the lessons that will be beneficial to your journey to enlightenment. The story goes that during the lifetime of the Buddha, there was a large snake that was very close to being reborn in the human realm. Therefore, it could transition itself to look like a human being. It could change its physical appearance at will. This snake was interested in attaining enlightenment. Therefore, on one occasion, it changed its appearance to look like an ordained practitioner and went into the location where the Buddha was teaching in order to learn his teachings. Looking like an ordained practitioner, the snake sat down right along with all the other ordained practitioners. The Buddha was teaching for an extended period of time, as he often did, and many people were falling asleep. You might consider falling asleep during a teacher's talk as disrespectful, but that is not how an enlightened being sees it, and surely not a fully perfectly enlightened Buddha. A Buddha understands that to learn these teachings takes a certain amount of energy and effort, and the mind will need to be challenged to work to listen, learn, and understand. Therefore, it is not uncommon for a student to fall asleep while applying effort and energy to deeply learn these teachings. So, along with all the other ordained practitioners, the Serpent King fell asleep. As the Serpent King fell asleep, it lost its awareness of mind and, therefore, turned back into looking like a snake. Then, as the various ordained practitioners awoke from their sleep, they noticed there was a large snake among them and became fearful. They decided to go get the Buddha. An enlightened being has no fear, so they figured that, with his wisdom and lack of fear, the Buddha would know what to do. The Buddha came to see what was happening, and as he showed up to the area where the Serpent King was, the snake woke up from its sleep. The Buddha asked the snake what he was doing. The Serpent King replied that he wanted to learn the teachings of the Buddha to be able to attain enlightenment. The Buddha informed the snake that while that was an admirable pursuit, he would be unable to attain enlightenment while in the animal realm, that he would need to be in the human or heavenly realm to attain enlightenment. And since he had heard that he was able to transition himself to look like a human being, he must be really close to being reborn in the human realm, so perhaps in his next life he would be able to attain enlightenment. The Buddha asked the snake if it would be possible for him to leave, because he was teaching several humans, and because they were not yet enlightened, they had fear, and it would be challenging for them to learn as long as the snake was there. The snake pleaded with the Buddha and asked him to be able to stay. The Buddha explained that it would be best if he left so that he could teach the human beings, and then, in his next life, he could learn the teachings from a human existence, and then perhaps attain enlightenment. So the snake reluctantly agreed to leave, but he said he would stand just outside from where the Buddha was teaching, and that he would stand guard. That if anyone had ill will towards the teachings of the Buddha, he would not let them enter to learn his teachings. And this is why we have these snakes positioned here in front of these steps. The ordained practitioners used to teach up here above this staircase. As you can see, the idea of this story being true is unable to be determined because none of us were there during that time frame. I have never seen a snake that is able to transition itself to look like a human being, but scientists share with us that 99% of all animals that once existed no longer exist today. The animals that we are seeing represent only 1% of all animals that once existed. Whether the story is true or false, there are still lessons to be learned here that will help you in your journey to enlightenment. First, an enlightened being does not have any fear. By the time you get to enlightenment, you will have eliminated 100% of all your fear. Second, it is only in the human and heavenly realms that beings are able to attain enlightenment. And thank goodness you are now in the human realm. So, do not allow this human existence to go to waste. Do not allow the mind to become complacent in its journey to enlightenment. Apply effort and energy towards learning, growing, and developing on the path to enlightenment. And third, if you come to visit a temple, it is important not to have ill will towards the teachings of the Buddha. Having ill will towards the teachings of the Buddha would be to be interested in changing his teachings. Once the teachings of a Buddha have been changed, they will no longer lead to enlightenment, and you are causing harm to yourself and countless other beings. So, when you come to learn the teachings of the Buddha, learn them as they are, learning by investigation and examination, reflecting to independently verify them, and practice his teachings to produce the results of the enlightened mind. But it is important to never change the teachings of a Buddha, because they would no longer be effective at producing enlightenment, and it would cause harm to you and countless other people. A Buddha has already done the hard work of figuring out how to attain enlightenment. All you need to do is actively learn, reflect on, and practice his teachings with the guidance of a teacher to experience the results of the enlightened mind. But changing his teachings will not allow you to attain enlightenment, and changing a Buddhist teachings would be to have ill will towards his teachings and countless other beings, because it would cause significant harm to change a Buddhist teachings. Getting to enlightenment is the very best thing that could ever happen for you and those around you. But if someone changed the teachings of the Buddha, they would no longer produce enlightenment. Therefore, changing a Buddhist teachings would cause you and countless others harm, because you would not be able to experience enlightenment. A Buddhist teachings are timeless. They are just as applicable during the lifetime of a Buddha and throughout the entire history of the world. A Buddhist teachings are based on the natural laws of existence, and these natural laws do not change. Therefore, a Buddhist teachings are timeless, and they do not need to be changed. They will work to help countless beings attain enlightenment if they are not modified in any way.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
There are stupas and chetties all throughout land where Buddhist practitioners live. Here, in Thailand, you will see many stupas and chetties. These are built out of respect for the Buddha and to distinguish this place, this land, this location as being a region where people are learning and practicing the teachings of the Buddha. This is out of respect for the Buddha, but also so that others know these people are not going to change their perspective to some other collection of teachings. They have made a conscious choice to learn and practice the teachings of the Buddha without anything easily changing their perspective in that regard. It would be impossible for someone to wipe out Buddhist teachings from this land, as these people have decided, dating back many centuries, that they are going to be Buddhist practitioners. A stupa is something that might have relics inside, where chetties are something that people at one time could physically enter. If this stupa has something inside, that information is no longer available. This particular stupa was built to acknowledge the respect not only for the Buddha, but also for the person who was the founder of this temple. Sometimes it is nice to step back, look at the stupa, and see if you can discern the symbolism of the original intention of the artist and craftspeople who built the stupa. Some people think they see 4 levels to this stupa, perhaps denoting the 4 stages of enlightenment, or the first teaching of the Buddha titled the 4 Noble Truths. In reality, the only person or people who really know what was being communicated through this stupa's construction are the people who were involved in building it. It was built so long ago, the true meaning of each level and why it was crafted in the way that it was has been lost, although you can see carved lotus flowers and other typical symbols from Buddhist culture. Take some time to walk around, enjoy viewing it, and perhaps imagine what it must have been like so many years ago when they were first building this structure. How do you think they did it? What do you think they were trying to communicate? And how much longer do you think this stupa will be here? It has already been here for nearly 800 years.
อิติปิโสภะคะวา
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
The tunnels are a highlight of this temple. You are welcome to go into them and explore. You will see many remnants of what was built so many years ago. You might be curious to know why these tunnels were constructed. This is another thing that is not entirely known and is lost due to history. But the reason I think they were built is due to having a cool place to meditate. If you come here on a hot summer day, or any time that it is hot, which is quite often due to it being Thailand, and you enter the tunnels, it is a bit cooler inside the tunnels versus being outside. If you attain enlightenment, you can be comfortable and content no matter what the temperature might be. However, on your way to enlightenment, it sure is nice to have a comfortable place to regularly meditate. So, I think of these tunnels as ancient air conditioning. I think the people of the past built the tunnels to have a cool place to meditate. Prior to electricity and modern conveniences, it sure would be nice to go inside the tunnels and meditate in a cool place. That is how I use these tunnels. I have come here to meditate from time to time, so maybe you would like to do that. There is a really nice little tunnel all the way in the back that is perfect for meditation. If you enter into the far right tunnel and follow it all the way to the back, you will see a smaller tunnel that turns to the left. It is a dead end with a statue of the Buddha at the end of the small tunnel, and you will have a quiet little place to meditate out of the way of people walking through the tunnel. If you would like to go explore the tunnels and walk to the small tunnel in the back to meditate, go have fun. I will wait for you here outside the tunnels and talk about this large pillar when you are finished. If you would like to learn how to meditate, you are welcome to join one of our classes, courses, or retreats. You can attend in person or online. There are also recordings for you to learn at your own pace on our YouTube channel or podcasts. You will be able to access these from our website, buddhadailywisdom.com. Just so you know, the people at the temple request that you provide them a donation prior to entering into the tunnels. They implemented this because, at one time, they did not have a fee and they were having difficulties to support the continued maintenance of their temple. When Thai people come to a temple, they will typically give a donation to help the temple to get the support it needs for things like water, electricity, maintenance, etc. They are interested in seeing these centers continue in their country because it supports many people from all over the world to get the help they need in life. However, the millions and millions of tourists that visit these temples are unaware of this importance and why practicing generosity is beneficial for the mind. Therefore, many temples were falling into disrepair. To improve this, the Thai people have the need to accept a fee to enter some temples to ensure they can be supported and continue to provide service for the public. Whether you go into the tunnels or not, and whether you provide a donation to the temple or not, is a choice for you to make. But at least you will understand why the Thai people have implemented this at their temples. It was out of necessity to keep the temples operating, and with millions of visitors per year who were not providing the needed support, the temples were unable to support themselves to continue. If you decided to provide a donation to the temple on behalf of the Thai people, I would like to share my appreciation and gratitude for your support to assist in keeping the temples operational for many generations to come.
อิติปิโสภะคะวะ
อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธ
This pillar was constructed in honor of an individual named King Ashoka. King Ashoka was a king that ruled over mostly all of India and beyond. He lived about 150 to 200 years after the death of the Buddha. He was a very powerful king and had a very strong army. He would conquer land through fierce and bloody battles. Through conquering extensive amounts of land and expanding his kingdom, which included a large amount of death, he acquired a significant amount of power and wealth. But at one point during his life, he encountered the teachings of the Buddha, learning and practicing what he taught. This led to his complete transformation. Having completely transformed his own mind, he was no longer a murderous king. Having seen the effectiveness of the teachings of the Buddha and having a significant amount of wealth, he decided to use his money, power, and influence to spread the teachings of the Buddha throughout the world. King Ashoka sent missionaries out into the world and built pillars in honor of the Buddha and people connected to the Buddha. He built many pillars out of respect for the Buddha, which had inscriptions that shared his teachings for people to learn by reading the pillar, but also he built a pillar to honor the Buddha's mother. It is King Ashoka who is credited with helping to start the initial spread of the teachings of the Buddha throughout the world. Had it not been for his personal transformation and dedicated efforts, we may not know the teachings of the Buddha, as they could have very easily died in India. But King Ashoka knew how important the teachings of the Buddha are and decided to share them with other people. Therefore, in Buddhist communities, there is a deep level of respect and gratitude for King Ashoka, because had it not been for his efforts, we may not have known the teachings of the Buddha to help you experience your own personal transformation in your life. And the natural law of karma functions in such a way that whatever you put out, that is what will come back to you. So during the lifetime of King Ashoka, he built pillars in honor and respect of the Buddha. But now, people are building pillars in honor and respect of King Ashoka. This pillar was built in honor and respect of King Ashoka's dedicated efforts to share the teachings of the Buddha throughout the world. Because had it not been for him, we may not know the teachings of the Buddha, because they could have easily died in India.
Itipiso bhagava
Arahang Samma Sambuddho.
If you have ever been interested in seeing a Thai cemetery, this is a Thai cemetery. Thai people will, most often, cremate a body at the end of life. Then the family will decide what to do with the ashes. Many families will keep the ashes at home, spread them, or sometimes they will place them at a temple. The choice is up to the family. These families decided to erect a shrine in honor of their relatives, and it is up to the family to make the decisions to construct the shrine and maintain it. Thai people take care of their family members from birth all the way through life until death. It is the family who coordinates and executes all the activities after death for the family member who has died. There is a funeral typically hosted at home that lasts upwards of 3 to 5 days prior to the body being cremated. Villagers will hear about the passing of the individual and choose to stop by the home to share their support for the family. Gifts are oftentimes given to the family to support them during this challenging time, such as food, money, or other items. Funerals in Thailand are more of a celebration of life rather than mourning a loss, where people are coming together to support each other and contributing to the final efforts to care for the family member who has died. You are welcome to respectfully look around to gain a better understanding and appreciation for this Thai cemetery.
Itipiso bhagava
Arahang Samma Sambuddho.
I am going to end this tour with a big thank you for being interested in learning and understanding the teachings of the Buddha. It was a pleasure to share these teachings with you and provide you this tour of Wat Umong. There are many other aspects of this temple that I did not share with you, so you might decide to look around and explore on your own. However, this tour encompasses all the major areas of the temple. I like to end each time I share the teachings of the Buddha with students with a thank you, because by you learning, reflecting on, and practicing the teachings of the Buddha, this is the most beneficial thing you could ever do for yourself, those close to you, and all of humanity. Because as you become a more loving, kind, warm, and gentle individual who lives in peace and without harming others, this is helping you, those close to you, and all of humanity. So, thank you for your contribution to learning, growing, and developing into a better human being who is choosing to not cause harm to others. When individuals come to a temple, They sometimes choose to offer support through sharing their time, effort, energy, or resources. The Buddha taught the practice of generosity, giving and sharing without any expectation of anything in return, in order to train the mind to let go. It is the mind holding on, craving and clinging, wanting and expecting, that is causing the mind to experience discontent feelings such as sadness, anger, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fears, boredom, loneliness, shyness, jealousy, resentment, stress, anxiety, etc. It is through training the mind to let go that one can completely eliminate 100% of all discontent feelings. The Buddha taught meditation and several other techniques to train the mind to let go. Giving and sharing one's time, effort, energy, and resources to help others without any expectation of anything in return helps train the mind to let go, thus working to eliminate one's discontent feelings. In addition, by supporting a temple, you are supporting the ability for people to gain access to the teachings of the Buddha, receiving assistance and guidance in developing a better life. If you have offered your support to our temple or me in any way, we sincerely appreciate your kindness and generosity. Your support helps us to help you and many others around the world. If you would like to join us for classes to learn more, either in person or online, you are welcome to attend any of our classes, courses, or retreats at no cost. You will find our events calendar by scanning the QR code or by visiting the website buddhadailywisdom.com. You can learn here in Thailand and other parts of the world where I teach, or through the live stream of our events. No matter where you are in the world, if you have an internet connection, you are able to learn the teachings of the Buddha and the better way of life he taught. We sincerely appreciate your visit to Thailand and Wat Umong. I wish you a meaningful and joyful day in Chiang Mai as you explore all that it has to offer. Take care and be well, and may you discover the peace and joy of the enlightened mind.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato